Hello, if you're here or if you're watching this on my YouTube channel. I've called this about receiving cosmic waters. I've been really tuned in to the Star Algol. If you're here on Soul Tribe, you might have been doing the 40-day meditation where we've really been tuning into water. And as part of this, I started to really tune in to Algol as a Stargate and the receiving of cosmic waters. And so Uranus is actually transiting Algol at the moment. And then when I've looked at the chart today, there's all kinds of amazing things going on, like Pluto is stationary, about to turn retrograde as well. So very powerful energies. So I wanted to begin actually with a meditation so we can all tune into the Stargate energy and create an intention within ourselves to receive it. What I feel the energy primarily is for is healing the wound of rejection, if I can get it down to a really little sentence, healing the wound of rejection, especially a feminine kind of wound of rejection, the things that are rejected in our world, in ourselves. And so as we begin this, our intention is to open to this new coding that is available, that is coming in, this big healing portal, which I'll talk about later, but just to receive. So I want to invite us to take up the mudra for Gene Key 45, which is actually the communion mudra. So the siddhi of Gene Key 45 is communion. And let's just close our eyes and take a few breaths, just coming into the present, feeling really anchored in the body, feeling the stillness. And this mudra, the communion mudra, is so simple and perfect to receive the waters of life, the bread of life. It's actually part of the codon ring of prosperity that opens us to receiving at the deepest level. So holding out the communion hands and letting our consciousness stretch out above into the infinite. Breathing into the infinite. And feeling the space below us as we go through the earth all the way out the other side. The space that people in the southern hemisphere can see. The space to our left and the space to our right. And out there in the heavens, in the constellation of Perseus, is the eye of the Medusa, the severed head of the Medusa, the severing of the head indicating she has undergone a profound initiation, a release from the mind and from the ego. And her eye is cold and clear like the stars. And it is through this eye of Medusa, sometimes she's also connected to Lilith, that we receive the healing cosmic waters that run deeply through our sanskaras to heal layers upon layers of ancestral wound of rejection of the divine feminine. So open your bowl once more, stretch out your hands to receive this water. And place the water over your head. Let it run down over your head. Violet light. And let it penetrate into your brain, into the cerebral fluid. And now start to feel the cerebral fluid run down your spine. And you can do a little wriggle. And this kind of healing needs to happen really slowly. So we're just open to receiving the new, the fresh, what is available right now to us. It doesn't have to be rushed. You just receive in stillness. Heal any wounds in the spine. Heal any shock in our brain, in our nervous system, in our cerebral fluid. Shocks when we were abandoned in some way as children. Just letting everything come to beautiful stillness and deep trust. Trusting that the Divine Mother has our back, literally has our back, is holding us in this great transformation. Receiving once more the violet light water, putting it over your head, let it run down your body. Feel the purification, the sensuality. Return to wise innocence within the feminine form. Wonderful. So just take a few more deep breaths. Gently opening our eyes. Wonderful. Thank you. So I'm going to do a bit of astrology now. I still feel quite dreamy, so I don't know what's going to come out. Um, and then we can have a bit of a chat at the end, and just find out how you're experiencing this moment. Some pretty intense energies, especially today. So let me get my right. Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Last week I did the whole presentation. There was a black screen, so I'm just checking that it's working this week. So I've called this Receiving the Cosmic Waters, Healing the Rejection Wound. This is something I've really been working on myself, really my whole life, I would say, but becoming more and more aware of the depth and magnitude of this wound. And actually, I've spoken to a few other people, um, and a few people have said, like, the more awakened you become, in fact, you become more and more aware of the depth of the wound of rejection that we carry as human beings, as women. So it does feel like a kind of lifetime's work. But we have this healing portal at the moment, which I'm going to talk about, that's actually running right up until January next year. So we have plenty of time to take advantage of this energy that's available. And one way you can do that is just to actually sit in the communion um, mudra and receive the energies for 5, 10 minutes a day. Um, and which is what I've been doing through this 40-day practice, and feeling some really deep shifts in this wound. So at the moment, we have, as I say, Algol is in the constellation of Perseus. In the zodiac, it's 26, 27 degrees Taurus, where Algol resides. It's a still point because it's a star, so it is moving, but very, very slowly. And at this present time, we have Uranus, who's a very liberating planet. And with Uranus, you get like flashes of being able to see really clearly, like lightning strike initiation. So I think Uranus combined with the eye of Medusa is actually like really powerful to tear away, to pierce the veil, to see through the Maya. And Algol as a star is actually called like the most evil one, that which is most rejected. Um, so I don't really believe that a star can be evil or that this one is, but what is embodied in the stellar energy is what the patriarchal human society has regarded as evil and which has been most rejected. It can be women's power, women's sexuality, all kinds of things that are squashed in our culture. Less so, obviously, than they used to be. We see a general a change across the generations, but we're here to really embody this change and be the whole feminine, if you like, the whole of the dark feminine. So there's another couple of things really wonderful happening. Ceres, the mother goddess, is in Gene Key 25 with Saturn. This is the portal of universal love. And also, I discovered when I did the chart that Pluto turns retrograde today and is stationary. So as we've been doing our meditation, we've been in a really powerful field of that station. Okay, so I'm going to run through some of the things happening in the chart. Some of them I've mentioned already. If this goes over your head, just almost allow the words to come into you. So you're not staying too in your left brain, but just receiving. Okay, so here up in this corner is Algol. I've used an eye to represent her. And we can see here that we have Uranus at 26 degrees Taurus, and we have Hygeia, the healing goddess of, she's healing through dreams and sleep, and she's at 24 degrees. Now, there's a couple of really interesting TNOs and asteroid right in between these two. The first one is Parvati. Now, some years back, I heard the really interesting talk by Ra Uru who brought through the human design, about Parvati embodying all the old coding of the feminine. So, if you like, she's kind of, we won't say she's good or bad, but she represents the old coding for the feminine. So it's very interesting that of all the bodies in this kind of mix, Parvati is there. And the other one who's there is a trans-Neptunian object called Lempo. And Lempo is a Swedish goddess who was demonized. She was said to be evil by Christianity. So there's a lot of healing going on. I'm actually experiencing this whole thing through Christ consciousness. But certainly the Christian church now and of the past has often demonized Lilith, the dark feminine. And so this whole story is actually tied up with two major religions here, Hinduism with Parvati and Lempo Christianity. So we have to kind of engage in the religious side of things in order to truly uncover what the old coding is and what the new coding is. And what I would say for myself is that Christ and the Hindu gods and energies are not the problem. It's the way that humans have interpreted it that has caused a distortion. So here we have this opportunity to look at all this. And today the sun is in, what's called the gate of power of Taurus, 15 degrees Taurus. And this is gene key 2, which is the pure divine feminine code in the I Ching. And it's water, basically. So here we have this beautiful watery energy available to us at this moment in time. So I wanted to also look at what is happening with Medusa as an asteroid, which is fascinating because Medusa's at 1 degree Sagittarius. And this is the exit point for the underworld. So if we imagine Scorpio is the underworld, then as we come up through Sagittarius, we're coming out of the underworld. Sagittarius is the archer with her bow, and she's going to fire her arrow. And this is where Medusa is, and she's in Gene Key 34, which is the queen on her throne. And it's the city of magnificence. So she's like, there's some big energies here. And the city where Algol the star is Jinki 8, which is exquisiteness. So we have exquisiteness and magnificence. I mean, imagine all of us women on Earth were living in our magnificence and exquisiteness. It would just be absolutely fantastic. Okay, so the healing portal. So the first thing that points to healing here is Hygeia, the healing goddess. We can see that exactly 30 degrees before her is Chiron, is traveling with Mercury at the moment, the wounded healer. So this is all about the healing of the sense of self, the sense of identity, the wound that comes from not being seen and heard. That's Chiron in Aries. Then again, 30 degrees in, we have the North Node here in Pisces, and we have Ceres, the mother goddess, and Saturn. So these are moving across. Gene Key 36 is at the end of Pisces, moves from turbulence to compassion, to Gene Key 25, which moves from the constriction, like the heart feeling all constricted and the turbulence of emotion, to universal love. So this is this incredible opening of the heart available to us of compassion and universal love, combined with exquisiteness and magnificence. I mean, it couldn't get any better, really. So this whole thing here, the North Node, Ceres, Saturn, we've got Neptune has just entered Aries, and then we've got Venus is actually conjunct Neptune today as well. So you've got this very powerful heart opening potential there. Now, the other wonderful thing that's going on is we have, as I mentioned, Pluto is stationary today, so it's very magnified. So Pluto entered Aquarius a few months back, and so it's just at 3 degrees now, moving really slowly. And this whole thing about seeing clearly is very interesting because Gene Key 41, where Pluto is, and now as we move retrograde, we're going to be seeing things we maybe don't want to see as well. This moves from fantasy to emanation. So what have we been fantasizing about? Yeah, I'm reading this quite interesting novel where 3 generations of women, or 2 generations of women and this character now have this huge like fantasy that they're going to fall in love and be rescued by some amazing man. This is like their fantasy, and 2 of them actually commit suicide because it never happens and whatever. So that's a kind of quite dark goddess fantasy in the sense of projecting outwards that the fulfillment is going to come through the masculine. And it's hard for us not to believe that. It's hard for us to believe that the fulfillment will come through the connection with source, and the relationship with the masculine may or may not be part of our own story. It might not be. It might be we're going to have this direct connection, and we become the emanation of the universe. We become the emanation of the dark feminine. Okay, so what else is there to say? So Vesta, just wanted to mention, firstly to mention Juno is actually right opposite Uranus there and Algol. So Juno is all about the masculine, feminine, the sacred marriage, the honoring of the divine feminine. So a lot of the stuff might actually be unraveling through relationships, with Juno being right opposite there. And then we have Vesta is also in Scorpio, and she's in Jinki 44, which leads from interference to synarchy, is the new way of being, the non-hierarchical way of being in Gene Key's human design speak. This is where we're heading towards evolutionary wise, which is kind of interesting because we probably have some of the most hierarchical leaders around at the moment. So how are we going to get from there to there? So I don't know the answer to that, but one thing I do know is this pattern of the wound of rejection is one of my biggest interference patterns. It's like a daily interference in my stability, in my ability to be open, be not constricted, be not in turbulence. So I think it's a very interesting that Vesta is there, and Vesta helps us to know where we can really use our intention, our priestess power, to improve the situation. So yeah, so the 44, just to give you the dream arc animal, is the bee. So it's really good to work with the bee energy right now to really open into that kind of hive mind. Okay, so that's the astrology bit. We're in the first quarter moon. I'm going to do the full moon next, will actually fall next Monday, so that we'll do that then. So I just jumped ahead to see when Pluto will move direct again, and it's actually on the 13th of October. So we've got this whole period between now that it's going to go back over those first degrees of Aquarius again. It's like almost like another digging over, another clearing out, and another opening of the doors to the Aquarian age. And Uranus will actually return. It's on Algol now. It'll go into Gemini, and then it's going to go all the way back to Algol in January 2026. So we have quite a big window, I feel, for this this healing to take place. So yeah, so next week we're going to be doing full moon celebration. What have we manifested in this moon? And I'm going to look at a new asteroid I've discovered called Penthesilea, who is an Amazonian warrior. And she has the ability to fight men. I feel this could be useful at this time in human history. So, and I wouldn't say I'm terribly good at fighting men. So I thought this would be fun to actually look at Penthesilea. I think that should be an E actually there. But yeah, so we'll look into her next week. That's it. So yeah, all of you pretty much know this. So I have a website, AllisonDuana.com, where I offer readings, and you can also join this class. Sometimes I offer it out, but it's there every week for people who subscribe to Soul Tribe, which is a yoga Gene Keys platform. Okay, so I'm going to come out of that. Okay, so quite a lot of astrological stuff. With the Pluto retrograde, there's probably some quite heavy, difficult energies around. So if anyone wants to share anything that's come out of that, the wound of rejection, is that something you're working with? Yeah, be really interested. And I'm going to stop the recording, so this bit won't be on the video.